What's up, guys? Zeenigami here, and welcome to Knighthood Boss Battle number 2. This one's versus Einek. Now, compared to the first Knighthood Boss Battle, there's a different goal that we have here for this one, and the goal for this one, the large majority of your points is actually going to come from getting your team's health value, their total health value remaining at the end of the fight as high as possible, and that's going to get you the large bulk of your points. It doesn't really matter that much how much damage you do. There is still the more damage you deal in a single burst, the more points you get, but compared to the several like 600, 700 points you can get just for having a high health team, you're only gonna get maybe 50 or 100 points for bursting for a ton of damage. So it's not worth it, as this whole fight is changed up. So on the normal version and on the hard version, they're essentially the same. The hard version just has one new move, this one right here, that removes buffs and inflicts corrosion damage. That's going to be something that's slowly going to deal max health damage to your team. His other attacks are going to be an attack that does damage the more buffs that he has, so we want to get rid of his shield quickly so that way that one doesn't hurt us. And then this one that gets rid of buffs, which is, oh, I'm sorry, that's not get rid of buff move. One of his attacks gets rid of buffs. He has two moves that he's going to use over time. He's going to put on his shield that is going to be worth, depending on the version, 4 or 500% of his defense and make him immune to buff removal and to debuffs. And he's also going to put on a silver coating, and whenever you hit him, even if he has a shield on, attacking him is going to drain your ult gauge completely. So you're going to dissolve and you're going to lose your entire ult gauge. Other than that, he is immune to a ton of effects. He's immune to stun, petrify, freeze, and coerce. So we can't use Gustav and freeze him and burst him. He's also going to take less damage from counters, although we're not really using that strategy. And he has an interesting little bit where he's going to actually focus attacking characters who have their attacks buffed. So if you ever single target buff someone with Arthur, for example, he's actually going to try to hit that person first until he uses a buff removal move on him. He has a description down here that says uses a skill which restricts ultimate move gauges from filling if the barrier is not removed. But that's not something he does. That actually literally is not something that the boss does. I think they're talking about his shield that he puts on, but it isn't really a shield. This coating or buff that he puts on himself that dissolves your ult move gauge if you attack him, but the description is really, really odd there. So there's two teams, or basically any team that you want to use a solid green team with Jillian. Now Jillian is going to give you a ton of points by herself. It doesn't even matter if she's a high level or a lot of stars. We just have her passive on, which increases health attribute allies' health by 30%. So whenever we get into the fight, that 30% health boost is going to give us a ton of points. We want Merlin so we can get our ult charge a little bit faster. Elizabeth is here just because I want to show a few different options, and Jericho just in case you don't have Escanor. Now, if you are clever, you would have eaten the 10% extra health food that I totally forgot to eat there, but I'm still going to show you guys how the fight goes and how I recommend doing the fight so that way you can see it. So eat 10% health food. Since health is basically points, we want to get our health as high as possible. He's going to come in, he's going to put up his shield that protects him from debuffs, and it isn't that big of a shield. It's mostly annoying, so that way you can't like start off by getting Jericho debuffs or anything like that on. If you're using Elizabeth, we're going to move with Elizabeth twice, so that way we can get her ult gauge filled up, and we'll move with Jericho, so that way we can start building up that Jericho ult and start building up that Jericho crit. We're not going to be able to get the debuff. We are going to be able to strip him of his shield. He's going to do single target attacks on normal. I think the hard mode is one with the AoE. Normal, I think, is just single targets. It is possible to get your team to a point where you patience a lot of his attacks. For example, you can use the new Valenti, so that way you can patience attacks. But it's not that important, since we can just try to burst him down. Now I'm going to show you on the next one that it's absolutely possible if you're using Escanor or anybody to really just move your cards around and get ult in turn 1 and just burst him down, especially with Escanor doing tons of damage. Here I'm going to move this get a heal, get a drain, and do that, I guess. I don't know. He's going to use some higher ranked cards just to get some more points. And there aren't points for getting buffs up like there used to be. And you'll notice here there's this little damage range. Depending on the damage range of each individual attack, you actually get more or less points. So there's additional points for doing more damage with individual attacks, but just a decent number of damage per attack. And I'm also not going to ult with all three here. We're going to do you, because you should be weak enough to not kill him, and then Jericho, and I don't care, whatever else. Throw those in there. Yeah, that's it. Since big damage doesn't matter, we don't even need to fish for a Jericho crit. I'm just going to let that really weak crit happen, and we should have 900 something points. Yeah, 930 points. Piece of cake. Even without Jericho ult crit damage, you're going to get a ton of points. It's really, really easy this time around compared to the first time around. Let's go through the hard version with a team that I recommend more. With this team over here on the hard version, we're going to be swapping out Jericho for Escanor, because Escanor is going to be a little bit better. We're going to use Arthur, so that way Arthur gives us that 15% health-related stats. I'm also going to eat... That's crit. Where's health? This one? Combat class. Your health. There we go. I got one. That's all I need. We'll eat the health-related food, and we will go. So you can totally, on turn 1, move Escanor cards twice, and then attack with Escanor. That will give you Escanor ult. And Escanor ult alone should let you one-shot the normal version with a little bit of damage from a few attacks on turn 2. Turn 1, move Escanor cards, attack. You can also use Gother on Escanor, so Gother rank up Escanor, attack, move, attack on Escanor, and that will get you to the point where you can one-shot him pretty consistently if you got a pretty geared Escanor. This should only do enough to get through the shield. And then we're looking for a 150k-ish Escanor ult. And it won't kill him, but it'll do a fair amount of damage. And we want to kill him fast. He does put up that ability that is going to drain your ult gauge if you let him do it. And if you attack him, so we're going to try to avoid that. We'll attack there. This is a decent attack. We'll attack here. No. We'll do that. We'll move that. And then we'll go ahead and get Jillian ult just in case Escanor doesn't kill it. I think Escanor might not kill it. Oh, you fool. We'll take this ult damage. It's not going to be bad. So ideally, you would have just killed him there with Escanor if your Escanor was a little bit beefier than mine is. But even with this little bit of damage on our characters, it's fine. So we will just do you, and you. And that should be it. Get out of here. Try to keep as much health as you can. You could totally replace Arthur for Elizabeth if you want to use Elizabeth on this team too to help build your ult gauges and also just heal your team, because healing your team up to full health before you end the fight is a great way to just keep your health topped off. How many points do we get? 1,375. Pretty easy, right? And you can see here that our health right there, 708 hit points. 708 points just for having high health, and additional points for dealing damage. We only did 150,000, but that's only 28 points here. So even if you were to deal somehow millions of damage to the boss, it's not going to be that many points. Yeah, keep your health high, and you're going to get a ton of points. I've been Zeenigami, guys. Good luck. Y'all stay beautiful.